also have to remember that the Board of Education is elected. They have a fiduciary responsibility to spend the money. And if they say that they need it, they know more than we do about this issue. And again, I'm looking forward eagerly to see what they come back with. And if there are repairs, as they say, I think that it's important that we pass it. But I will tell you one thing, I would hate to see trailers come into Fort Lee. And I think that'll be the worst thing that can happen to anybody's property value. And having children outside the school provides a unsafe atmosphere, and it doesn't help learning. My wife is a retired school teacher, and when she saw that the referendum was done and some of the things that they were going to use it for, she worked in New York City, and she worked 35 years with a boiler that was generating coal dust. And there are teachers in her school who passed away because of cancer. So, you know, to take this out of hand and just say no, it's not necessary is very unfair, and they deserve a second look. And I applaud them for bringing it back, and I hope that they will give I hope they will give more information to the electorate when the time comes.
Thank you. We had a referendum. The voters spoke. The Board of Ed is going to have another referendum. I think that the number just scared people. That's a very, very large number, and I too was scared. But what I hope is that they give people 3 options, small, medium, and large, and let the voters vote. And I think that'll be more palatable for people. But I also feel that if you look at Tenafly, who has a highly rated school, their property values are high. Do I want our taxes to go up? No. But I think everyone wouldn't mind going up a little bit, maybe $25, if our schools went up to all of them to be Blue Ribbon. We just got a Blue Ribbon Award in School 3. So I believe that where there are high property values, you have an excellent school system. But I also don't want us burdened. As a single mother, I can't afford it myself.
I think that, you know, I'm the only one with a child in the school system, so I have a personal vested interest in the schools, and my son's now in the middle school and, you know, is planning to go to the high school. So obviously this is a really important issue for my family, but I think that the voters, and no one should be demonized however they voted. This was a tough vote for everybody. Everybody loves the kids. I don't think there's anyone in Fort Lee that doesn't care about the kids and the future of our children. And we've shown that by even this past year passing the school budget. So I think that's not the issue, and that should be taken off the table. And anyone who thinks that way, I'm telling you as a parent, that's not what's going on. And I can tell you as a parent, there's a lot of parents that are concerned about the schools and voted against the budget. And there are a lot of people who don't have kids in the school, the budget bond, who don't have kids in the school, who also who voted for it. Because it was just a tough decision, because there's an issue of, as I described, the taxes that are out of control in general, and people are worried about their mortgages, and they're deciding what they can and can't buy. And that's a very important issue, and that's where the council really needs to be aware of what's happening to everybody in Fort Lee. And the other issue is accountability. $100 million is a lot of money, and unfortunately, there was in the video things like a broken glass window that wasn't fixed, and people said, wow, I'm paying all these taxes, why can't they fix a broken window? So I hope what will happen, I hope obviously the bond issue comes back, and I hope they listen to the people, really analyze the results, and understand that everybody wants what's best for the kids, but they need to feel comfortable and know that the money will be spent wisely and that they won't necessarily get an increase in their school budget every year.
The next round. The next question is from the homeowners again. And this question is, within the past year, it appears that there once were single-family homes. They are now being knocked down and replaced with duplexes. With that change comes additional traffic, parking issues, increased demand for services, etc. Although we need additional rateables to keep the tax rate down, what is your vision of the type of development that you think Fort Lee should undertake? Please be specific. Okay. The first person to speak will be Isla.
Thank you. Truthfully, I think we have enough parking problems. I think we have enough duplexes. I think that if we look at the master plan, which we were ordered by law in 2001, we have an entire volume that plans our development in the borough. And the shining star in that plan was the Centuria development, which was the new downtown, the revitalization. And I believe that we should not have a lot of single-family homes being knocked down and replaced with duplexes to add to the traffic.
Then why are you doing it?
Martha.
I agree with Isla about that we have enough duplexes, and we just talked about the schools, and that obviously puts a lot of pressure on the schools and other services. In terms of what kind of development I'd like to see, I'll just give you an example. If I had been involved in the Centuria RFP and discussion, what are we so proud of in Fort Lee? One of the things we're so proud of is our movie history, right? But we always talk about it, it's the past, you know, it's not the future. And for me, from my background being in television and seeing this happen before, I would have said, why don't we consider getting a studio? Someone to invest, the people that own the property, show them why it would be very good for them to have a studio on their property, still have stores, plan for the stores, a movie theater, but it would give us, first of all, it wouldn't take much services. It obviously, having a studio doesn't involve schools. It doesn't involve traffic, because many people would come from the city to work here, and the people that came from other places, it would be minor traffic. The second thing is, it would create an excitement here. You know, it's really unfortunate that we lost CNBC to Englewood Cliffs. I don't really know how that happened. I wasn't involved at that time, but that would have been an amazing opportunity. Could you imagine that we would have had a studio there? So that's the kind of thinking out of the box that I think we need to do. And we need to remember our past, but bring it into the future. Thank you.
I believe we have ordinances on the books, and those ordinances should be enforced. And if a single-family house is knocked down and a duplex needs variances, then it shouldn't be granted. I also believe that what type of development we need would be something that would go over the parking lot, our municipal parking lot. I think decking that parking lot, adding parking to it, putting a park up on top with some stores would revitalize Main Street. I think it would generate walking traffic, and I think it would be beneficial to the store owners and the homeowners because of the increase in tax rateables that it would generate also. And I believe this could be done through a private developer when the time is right.
When my term expired from the Board of Adjustment, I wasn't put back on, and I asked why, and I was told I asked too many questions. So we need more people to ask questions, and we need more people to say no at the Board of Adjustment. But let me go back to the original premise of this question. Who says we need additional rateables? This, to me, is a sickness. Because people say, well, we have to build, and we have new rateables. But what happens when we get the rateables and the tax in? We spend it, and then your taxes still go up. And then we have to have new rateables. And what happens? You get it. Why not just stop, take a breath, and look around and say, we have 37,000 people packed into almost about 2.5 miles, 2.5 square miles. 37,000 people. Want to bring more in? I don't. When I was preparing for tonight, you know, I had a statement on Centuria, and I put in bold letters, and I'll say it now, I am opposed to any plan that would add density and congestion to Fort Lee. Simple. So, let's take a breath, see what we have, maybe put a moratorium on building, and take a look and see what we have. And you'll realize, some people talk about Main Street, and they say, well, the stores are going to be on Main Street. But if you look around, we have a lot of vibrant malls. And Linwood Plaza was just redone. You can't even park in there anymore. We have what we need in Fort Lee. So let's not look for more. Let's enjoy what we have. And let's cut expenses to keep the taxes down, not look for more money to come in.
Third question from the association also. As you see, Fort Lee as of October 12, 2010, what programs or initiatives would you pursue to make Fort Lee a better place to live, work, and establish a business? Please give a broad answer. Outline possibilities, and what are your goals for the next 4 years? Let's start with Jan.
As I said before, I'm for taking the parking lot in the center part of Fort Lee. I believe the type of stores that would attract would be restaurants, would be the type of stores that would generate walking traffic, which would help our business, which would provide parking, because we would put another parking level on it. And I think that could be accomplished as soon as the economy turns, and I would hope that would happen in the next 4 years. That's the biggest thing that I can see, the biggest area need of redevelopment, in my opinion. And as far as not doing anything on I'll call it the redevelopment area number 5, since I think that's just a complete waste. Nobody wants to come over the bridge and see vacant lots with weeds growing over it. To make Fort Lee vibrant and to help, it needs to be developed.
Okay, well, in terms of what programs or initiatives for the next 4 years, it's a long time, especially since a council person's only in for 3 years. But I'll start small and first of all, I think it'd be nice to, in terms of quality of life, again, speaking as a parent and someone who uses the community center, I think it would be nice that we didn't have meters that went to midnight, so that when I go see my child go play a game, I don't come out with a $28 ticket because the meters by the community center go to midnight. I think that's ridiculous. And it's also a tax on us, and it hurts families. The second thing is, I know this may sound, it's not in Fort Lee, but I think it helps Fort Lee. We have a shuttle that goes different places in Fort Lee. Wouldn't it be nice if we offered people in Fort Lee the shuttle to go across the bridge? It would also cut down on the traffic, the congestion that we're talking about. It would also save people money. Even if they paid a little bit, they wouldn't have to pay what they pay to go across the bridge now, and it would be a nice convenience for people who live in Fort Lee. They would show their ID, and they would get dropped off, and they could take the A train, and they would help the ozone layer that way. The next thing that I think would help quality of life is, I agree with Jan, I know that private property, we can't tell them what business to bring in, but I do know in the budget there's business development, there's money spent on business development, so I assume we can work on business development, and I would look to begin a process for creating a new business development team. And I think that if we really could come out with some like out-of-the-box ideas like a studio and things like that, that really is exciting and that could create a buzz, I think people would want to come here. You know, I think that unfortunately there's kind of no buzz about Fort Lee anywhere. So those are just some ideas.